recording? Are we good? Okay. Hi, welcome to the Crafty Sparrow podcast. It is episode 10. My name is Amanda, and this is my monthly podcast where you can catch up on what I've been crafting. I do mostly knitting. I do some sewing. Sometimes I do some crochet, and I also do thread crafting, like embroidery and cross stitch is usually what I do. So sit back, enjoy, grab yourself a drink, and let's get started. So, first I guess we can talk about my finished objects. That's usually how these things go. And the last time that I recorded, it was a little bit more than a month. I tried to do this like once per month, maybe not necessarily 4 weeks in between. So I have quite a few finished objects to show you guys. Some of them I can't actually show you. Like I did some pressed flower shawls for Mother's Day, and those have been given to my mothers, so you won't be seeing those, but they turned out great. They love them so much. But yeah, well, first of all, let's start with my finished object, which is the Provence top. And yeah, this has actually been one of my favorite summer tops I've ever made, although I struggled with it. So we'll start off. The yarn that I used was Pima cotton yarn from We Are Knitters. It was some stash yarn from a long time ago, and I had like 3 or so balls left over from that project, and so it was enough to make a full top, thankfully. Although I will say they were not really much of a sleeve to work on, so it really didn't use too much yarn. It's not like a full sweater where you go all the way down to your wrist, but 3 balls of yarn was enough. I think actually I still have a ball of yarn left of it, so I've been making a lot of washcloths out of it, and I just realized I could have added that to my finished object list, but they've already been used, so they're dirty. But yeah, so actually, now that I think about it, this only took like 2 balls of this yarn. They're 100 grams a piece. I used the copper colorway. I used a 4mm needle for the main body and a 3.75mm for the ribbing. I did some major modifications on the sleeves. You can probably already tell if you know this pattern. The sleeves are supposed to be short, but they're not supposed to be this short. They're supposed to be probably like right there. So I guess we can go ahead and talk about those modifications, because other than that, I mean, this is it. It's a full length shirt. I've got it tucked into my shorts, but yeah. So the modifications that I made here is I actually crocheted the sleeves instead of picking up the stitches and knitting them down to about right here. And I actually did knit how the pattern called for both sleeves, and I did not like the way they turned out. I don't know if I was doing it wrong, or maybe my gauge was a little bit off and I just didn't know it because I didn't gauge swatch this. But they were flaring out. They came out to like right there, and it wasn't like a straight flare. It was like, it's almost like it ruffled a little bit. I wasn't a fan of the way it looked. I also didn't like that the lace pattern, because the sleeves are supposed to be continuing the lace pattern, but because you're picking up stitches and doing the lace pattern, they're not following the same direction. They do the lace pattern downwards. Does that make sense? But I'm sure you understand. I didn't like the way that that turned out as well. So I ripped the sleeves out, and I was trying on the top with just like the raw edge of the lace here, and I was okay. Actually, I really liked the length of the sleeves at that point, because it's drop shoulder. The body, like shoulder area, technically is already starting the sleeves, so there's already sleeve length there, and I didn't necessarily want them to be any bit longer. So what I did was the sleeve part was a bit more open, like the gap that they leave for the front and back panels was a bit of a gap. So I crocheted the 2 pieces together until I got to the depth that I liked for my sleeves. It turned out to be a pretty good depth. And then what I did was I picked up, yeah, it's crochet, so it's not like you're picking up and keeping the stitches on. So basically all I did was I like crocheted into a stitch and then I slip stitched. So I just did a slip stitch all the way around, and then I think I did it one more time in the front loop only. Let me see if I wrote it down. Yeah, crochet, slip stitch around, and another row slip stitching on the top loop only. So 2 rows of slip stitches around, and it made this really nice like clean edge around it. And so the reason why I did this instead of just leaving it without any added like sleeve details was it looked like a really raw edge and not so finished without the crochet edge. And that's why I really only did the crochet edge, is because I just wanted it to look a little bit more finished. And I think I accomplished that. I think it looks great. I like the shirt a lot. The way that it's constructed gave it a higher back, and I think that it looks really good. I guess the back is different from the front, so you guys can see it's straight down here. The detail is straight, whereas, and what makes this so cute is that the front actually has like this sweetheart detail. Is that what that's called? Sweetheart neckline? Is that right? You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it has the neckline detail here and then just a straight back, and the lace is just so pretty. I had, if you remember me talking about last time, I had quite a bit of trouble with it and it got put in the naughty corner. But I think that I really wasn't paying enough attention to the lace that first time, so I was getting lost in it. So I paid a lot more attention to it when I started it back, and really the only trouble that I had once I got used to it was the edging. And like, you kind of have to know when to start the yarn overs and the knit twos togethers in the lace pattern, because you're adding stitches as you make the shoulder front panel, and so the number of times you yarn over and knit two together sometimes can change in the beginning, but once you get the edges like started going across, it's in pattern and it's super easy. But definitely not a beginner pattern, I would say, especially if you haven't really dealt with lace that much. Before this, I think that I may have made like 2 lace things, a shawl and wow, I think that's actually, I made a shawl with like lace details in it, and that's probably the only time that I've done like a proper lace prior to this one. So still fairly new to it, but I think it's wonderful for summertime because it's really airy. It's a cotton fabric. It's a little bit heavy, but I don't mind that. Yeah, there's my Provence top, and that is from the Cozy Nest. That's the designer. I think her name is, this is hard to pronounce, so Ekaterina. I'll put it on the screen below. You can read it. Yeah, so that's finished object number 1. And all right, what's next? We have got, oh, we got the Musalla socks. I finished these up. They were a test knit from Kelcey from KnittingNiqabi. They were part of her Ramadan wool kit event thing, and at the end, I think she said that at the end that these would be a sock pattern you could make. They're based on the prayer rugs that people use when they're praying for Ramadan, and they are stinking adorable. I love them. I went into detail last time about what yarns I used. I'll just briefly go into it. The green is a knitcrate yarn from, let's see, October 2020. It was a sock knitcrate yarn. It's got nylon. And then the cream color is Knitpicks palette, Oyster Heather, I believe, which is 100% wool. And then the red is another knitcrate yarn. This was from March 2020. This was their regular knitcrate, not their sock. and this was the color Chestnut. It's a really nice baby alpaca. And because the heels, toes, and cuff are an actual like nylon sock yarn, it works really well, and the wool section is not as like stretchy, and because it's color work, it actually stays on my foot. I have a lot of trouble making a pair of socks and it being too baggy, or just like it's not holding onto my foot, you know, but these are actually really nice. I have worn them several times. You could probably tell there's, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's cat hair and everything all over them. But I've been wearing them around the house to keep my feet warm, and they definitely keep my feet warm. They stay on my feet. And yeah, I think that's because I wasn't using a very like stretchy yarn for the color work, and the color work itself will make it less just like loose, you know. It's not as stretchy as like, see the difference there? And also it was a new heel technique for me called the shadow wrap heel, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. But that was, yeah, I've never heard of that before, and it was super fun. I think that next time I do it though, I will do a smaller number of rows. It's been a while since I finished these. I finished them on April 22nd, so oh my gosh, that's like over a month ago. But yeah, there's like a certain number of times that you go back and forth on the heel, and I think next time I use it, I'm going to do a smaller heel, basically. And yeah, not much else to say about this. The pattern's been released since like the beginning of May, if not earlier. So you can definitely go check these out. The designer is, like I said, Kelcey from KnittingNiqabi. Yeah. I can try to put them on my feet so you guys can see them on some toesies. See if I can kick these up without knocking my drink over. Ta-da! Oh, out of camera. Hello. They're so cute. Yeah, I love them. So that's pretty much what I got to say about that. Oh, I also had to use a 1.75mm needle, but I talked to you guys about that last time. My gauge is really loose. I'm finding that out on another project that I'll talk to you guys about in a minute. Apparently my gauge is super loose, and also apparently Kelcey's gauge is super tight, so I had to go down like a lot of needle sizes. But it all worked out, so. There's that one, and then sewing project. You guys, if you follow me on Instagram, the Crafting Sparrow, I posted a picture of this project bag that I made. It's my first big sewing project. A while back, you guys saw my first sewing project, which was a skirt, and that was super easy because it was literally just sewing up the side of a rectangle and putting an elastic band in. But this is a real project. I love it though. I love it so much. It's even quilted. It's got a cotton batting in it, and I did the quilting lines myself. Can't really see it very well on the flower pattern, but you can see it down here. I did these little quilting lines myself, and the lines continue up there. It's got a liner in it, and really what it is a bucket project bag. So what that means is, what I can do is cinch this in, and it's like a bucket, and it can stand up on its own. There's not a table that's in view, but it can stand up on its own, and you can just put it down and just knit right out of it. I crocheted the cinch like drawstrings myself too, just with some cotton yarn that I had lying around. Oh no, the knot just came out. But yeah, it's just some cotton yarn that I had, my scraps. I just did a really long crochet chain and then fed it through the loop here on both sides, and you can just pull it and it cinches. And And I also made a strap for it. I don't really use the strap, although it did come in handy. I brought this with one of my knitting projects in it to the doctor's office, and so I just kind of like used it as a purse, like a crossbody purse, which was cute. Yeah, I'll put a link down below, as well as like all the patterns and artists and yarn that I used for these projects that I'm showing down in the description box. So this will have a video link to what I followed to make it. It was just a free tutorial on YouTube. It was like very minimum instructions. It just showed you the dimensions for the fabric and then them sewing it. So, but I guess that's all you really need. Yeah, I like it. It's not perfect. There's definitely some lines that are not straight. This little like band right here at the top is not straight at all, and there's like some like, you guys can't see this very easily, but like the fabric is like bunched up right here. But you know, for only ever sewing one thing before this, and then starting on something that had to like go in a circle and making sure that your fabric is not overlapping on itself, that's a pretty big deal for me, at least. I mean, like I said, I definitely made mistakes, but I've learned a lot, and I probably won't make another project bag, at least not for a long time, because I've got this one, and then my other main one that I was a gift to me for my birthday like 2 years ago. I really don't need more than 2 project bags because I'm mostly a monogamous knitter, so I don't have like a bunch of projects to put in different bags. Like, I totally get that if you have so many projects going on and you want to keep them in their nice individual bag, that's adorable. I love that. But I just don't I don't have that many projects going on, so, but I digress. This is my new project bag, and I love it. It's got nice little D-rings, and it's cute. So there's that. My last finished object is this sweet gal right here. This is the jacket number 1 by nope, not We Are Knitters. My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I also have some major modifications on this, but let me try it on first. I've been wearing this thing at the office. I've been wearing it around the house. It is just the most comfortable thing I've ever owned. So I will get started on the logistics of it. It's the, like I said, jacket number 1. I am using Drops Air Unicolor. It's like the sage green color. And if you remember, this was a future plan from last time. I told myself I was going to rip out one of my old sweaters. I made it earlier this year, just never wore it, so I decided to scrap it and reuse the yarn for something I would rather wear. I'll tell y'all in a minute what it was, so in case you don't know. But anyway, like I said, logistics. Stay focused. The needles I used was a 4.5 for the body, and the ribbing was a 4mm. And I made the size small. Now I'm wondering, I don't think I told you guys, I made a size small for the Provence top as well. And I made a size medium for the Musalla socks. Yeah, okay, now you're caught up. Yeah, so this is a size small, and I think that's all the logistics that we need to cover. So I'll tell you guys, the sweater that this yarn was the sweater number 18 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So if you don't know those patterns, basically jacket number 1 is the cardigan version of sweater number 18. This pattern that you see, this like knitting and purling pattern, is the sweater number 18 design. But I figured I would much rather wear a cardigan than a sweater, especially right now when it's much warmer, and I'm really only using it as a layering piece for the chilly office or at home when it's chilly inside. And I was correct. I would much rather wear a cardigan than a sweater. I think I wore that sweater like... Ashley, can you stop scratching the rug? I'm doing something here. Thank you. Come here. Come here. I think I wore the sweater number 18 like 3 times. I had put an elastic band in it just to make the neckline like really close, and I hated struggling my head over the elastic band, and I found myself wanting to take the piece off and on a lot because I wasn't like regulating right with it on. I don't know. It wasn't attractive in my closet. I didn't grab towards it. But this, on the other hand, the yarn that I used, like I said, is Drops Air, and it's a blown construction. So, and if you don't know what that means, it's basically like a netting that they blow fibers into. And so, like the name Drops Air, it has a lot of airflow in it, and it works great as a layering piece because you're not like suffocating in it. And this deep V-neck means that, you know, it's really only keeping my arms warm. But it works great. I love it. So, and I said I made some modifications. There are quite a few. First and foremost, you can see that the sleeves are not following the pattern. They are just stockinette. I didn't even follow the increase rate. I kind of went rogue on that. I just did my own increase rates. And my reasoning behind that is because when I made the sweater number 18, I did do the sleeves that they called for, and I found that I didn't like the way that the nature of the knitting and purling on the sleeve made it look almost like scrunched up even after blocking. It definitely scrunched the sleeves together. Not significant enough to make the sleeve shorter than I would have wanted, but more of like an aesthetic thing. It kind of reminded me of like Michelin Man, like Tire Man rolls on it. Like it was just scrunched. I didn't like the way it looked. So, yeah, so I just did regular stockinette stitch. And I really like the contrast in the sleeves compared to the body detail. And then the other major alteration that I made, the button band was supposed to be a double knit button band. And I could have done that if I wanted to. But I was already not sure if I would have enough yarn. I did make a size down than what I made for the sweater number 18. I went from a medium for the sweater to a small for the cardigan. So I knew I would have enough for the sweater, but I think double knitting takes more yarn than like what I did here, which is basically just a 1x1 rib after picking up the stitches along, you know, your basic button band construction. So yeah, I wasn't sure if I would have enough yarn, and honestly I still don't think I would have had enough because I only have like that much of a ball of yarn left of it. I really don't think I would have had enough for it. And it's already kind of a cropped sweater too. It's not, see if you guys can see. It stops like, it's not super cropped, but it's definitely not a long jacket. Anyway, it all worked out. It's not the like exact pattern. I made my own modifications, but I'm happy with them. So, yep. Oh, and the buttons were just like a pack of buttons that I got. I think my mother-in-law bought these for me. They're from, I don't even know where they're from. They're just like a bunch of different random buttons. And yeah, there were 4 of them that were relatively the same size, and I thought they were very like unique looking. They weren't exactly the same. I thought that brown looked best with the blue. So yeah, jacket number 1 complete, and I love it. So there's that. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all, I had a blocking experience with this. I didn't want to steam block it like I usually do because you are supposed to wet block this properly so that, like I said, the pattern doesn't scrunch up. I wet blocked this. Everything was going great. Put it on the blocks to on the you know, the like the puzzle piece foamy blocks, and let it lay out. It's taking forever to dry because I'm used to steam blocking. And then it's like a couple hours afterwards, it was like getting late at night, and I really just wanted to wear my cardigan because I was excited about it. So I take it off the blocks and put it on. The sleeves were like all the way out here. Like they were like this on my arm. And the V-neck part was like all the way down to my belly button. I was like, what did I do? So I stuck it in the dryer on the like the really gentle setting, and I threw in a towel in there with it so that it would grab more moisture. Not sure if that's even true, but that's what my brain was saying. That's rational. Anyway, it fixed it. Although I was hoping that wet blocking would stretch it out a little bit, because I wanted, like I said, it's a little bit more cropped than I would have liked, or what I was imagining, I would say. So I was hoping that wet blocking would stretch it out just a little bit. Oh, it did. A little too much. And then I went to reverse it in the dryer, and it just went back to normal. I was like, well, it's better a little bit short than super long. But I'm glad that it at least fixed my wet blocking stretching mistake. Oh well, what are you gonna do? So I think that's all I got for finished objects. We can just move on along to our whips now. So the first work in progress that I wanted to show you is a really exciting one. Shocker, right? We're always excited about all of our projects. But this one specifically is hands down the most complicated knitting pattern I have ever dealt with. It's like 15 pages long, and every page is chock full of detail. But I'm doing it. I've got it. Anyway, it's called the Aflutter Poncho. It is for my grandma. Here is the progress. It's a poncho, like I said. And if you don't know what a poncho is, it's basically a shawl that is on, it's just like a big circular like shawl that you put over your head, and then it covers all around your body. But there's not like any sleeves or anything. It just kind of lays over you. And my grandma came to see our family for Easter, and we had another, like, my sister was doing her gender reveal party. So my grandma came up, and she was seeing the pressed flower shawl that I was making my mom, and she was like, oh, I really want a poncho. And so I went through Ravelry with her, and she picked this one out, and I said, I think I can do it, Grandma. It'll be a challenge, and it won't be around anytime soon, but I got you. So we picked out yarn together, and yeah, it's a one size fits all, so there's not any like sizes. I used a 3.5 millimeter. I have no idea whether I met gauge, because it's a poncho. It's not really like a fitted thing. It's like an oversized object. So this, and then the yarn I used, the color is Knitpicks Stroll. They have these Knitpicks Stroll cakes that are going to be discontinued, or they already are. They're just trying to sell out what they have now. But they're gradient cakes, and she is a lot like me. She likes neutrals, nothing super bright or flashy. So she really liked this one, which was called Hollow Greens. It's a like a aqua blue blending into a nice pretty like teal color, and then into eventually like pure white. Yeah, and I think it's really pretty. And then I was asking her what she wanted for a contrast color, and I said, well, you know what, Grandma, I have some leftover Knitpicks Stroll from some projects that I had before, and I was actually wearing the April cardigan. I don't know if you were around for when I showed those, or that cardigan, it was actually made out of this yarn. And if you've really been around for a while, then you probably know that this was actually for a scarf pattern that I was drafting myself, that ended up falling through. But I had all this yarn left over even after making the April cardigan, and I was like, I think that this color would go really good with the blue color that you picked out. And she was like, yeah, go ahead and use it. So all I had to do was buy this. And, you know, these were on sale because they're going discontinued. It's a pretty nice little price for it. It's so pretty, too. The gradient, I finally have gotten to the point where you can see the full gradient. And I just love it so much. It's crazy how similar my grandma and I's tastes are. So it's obviously it's a paid pattern. I mean, anything like this is crazy and beautiful. It's definitely going to be a paid pattern. So I'm not going to give away too many details, but if you know anything about knitting, then you can probably tell that this is basically just a bunch of short rows. Yeah, each like little pocket thing is like a different type of short row, or not a different type of short row, just like a short row pattern, I guess you would say. And what I find really crazy is, you know, if you knit something this length for like a sweater or a blanket or something, like that's a ton of rows. I don't know how many rows it would be depending on your yarn weight, whatever, but like from here to here, that would be so many different rows. But in all honesty, this is only like, I mean, this is only one row. This right here is only one row. It's just it's got short rows in it. So it's only like, what, 20 rows in all this? And this is fingering weight yarn. But yeah, I love this so much. This is my main project that I've been working on. And come here. Come here. Well, come here. I know. You gonna sit with Mama? You gonna say hi? I took a picture with her when I was taking pictures for this jacket. And she came up and sat, and her eyes compliment. She won't look at the camera. Her eyes compliment this color so well. Ashley, look up here. Ash. Psst, psst. Up here. Hey. Look up at the camera. You gonna look at me? Okay, that's not working. Anyway, what was I talking about? You've distracted me. Oh, this is my main project that I've been working on. And then my only other project, knitting project, is a bralette. You can hop down if you want. Yeah, I'm making a bralette. I've put it in my sewing project bag. Oh, got a ruler in here. This is the Aphrodite bralette by Sonata Pileckaite. I don't know how to say her name. She's on Ravelry. Again, I'll have the name below and in the description box. Yeah, this is a bralette, and I found it really, really pretty when I was looking for bralettes on Ravelry, because it wasn't like a tank top or like, you know, an oversized thing. I've made the Ripple bralette by Jessie Made before, and I love it, but on the other hand, it doesn't contour your breasts, so it's not really like an actual bralette. But this one does. It actually has like breast shaping on it, and I was really excited to try this out. And so I'm using the you've got bi-monthly, January, February, March, April. This is the April Herbology Club by Kelcey from KnittingNiqabi. It was a chamomile theme that month. So you've got this really pretty bright yellow, and I've always thought yellows complemented me really well. I don't know. So I'm really excited. And also it's got little pieces of chamomile in it, which she sent out an email like apologizing, but I like low-key love it. I don't know, it just like really emphasizing the hand-dyed botanical yarn like aesthetic. And it's not really noticeable, it's just when you're knitting it you can see little tiny leaves in it. But anyway, I'm making the size, oh, I haven't put a journal entry for this yet. I think size medium. I'm fairly certain it was size medium. And like I mentioned earlier, I found out that I'm a very loose knitter because of the Musalla socks, but also because of this project. I was gauge swatching for this. I've mentioned before that I don't really like to gauge swatch too much for personal projects, but when it comes to something very form-fitted like a bralette, I made sure that I was getting the right gauge, because if something is too big for a bralette, then you're not really gonna hold your coconuts too well. So yeah, I gauge swatched and it called for a 3mm. I'm using my 1.75mm. I think that there is a lizard. Oh, my cat got very excited about the lizard being at the door. My other cat, not this sweet angel. She would never hurt a lizard. Wow, I have been getting off topic this time, huh? Yeah, 1.75mm. I was gauge watching it and I went down like 2 or 3 needle sizes and I was like, how are they getting this gauge? And you know what? I still didn't get the gauge swatch. This is my smallest knitting needle. I got really close to the stitch count, but my row count is still like several stitches off. So I'll need to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm not sure how much it'll impact it, but I know that the stitch number is a lot more important than the row number, but I'm not convinced that it's not at all important. But yeah, right now I'm just working on the band that goes underneath your breasts, and it has this really nice like slow transition from band to the actual cup. Like the center of it, actually the ribbing continues up a little bit, so you actually have like a cup shape on both sides. I'm really excited about that. We'll see how that goes. So that was my other work in progress. Do you like the yarn? And yeah, there's her eyes. There they are. So that's, oh, I don't know if anybody is keeping track of my long-term cross-stitch project, but I have been working on this a little bit. I think last time I was like right here. Yeah, because I did a whole square recently, actually, like last week. And what's really exciting is I'm getting to the parts where I can take the list of floss colors that I'm using and actually like take a certain color out of my currently using collection and like marking it off of my list of like floss that I still need to use. And it's dwindled down to like maybe 6 different floss colors, because all that's left is like this side of the sky. So it's really exciting. I've been doing this since 2017, I think. So about 5 years. Yeah. Progress on that. Here's the back, by the way. I don't know if anybody's interested in it. The most I have with yarn carryovers is when I was trying to save yarn. I don't know why I did this, but I thought I would save yarn by taking a color that's done over here and like dragging it all the way to the top. I don't think it really makes that much difference. I actually probably used a lot of yarn carrying it all the way up there. Not yarn, floss. What am I talking about? So that's what I've got. I do have some future plans, but they're not really like specific patterns, more just like general plans. And I haven't bought any new yarn. I did buy new yarn, but it's not shipping until June. It is Kelcey's Mythical Creature Club. Usually I do the mythology one, or not mythology, the herbology one. You guys have seen the elderberry one, and I just showed you the chamomile one, and this time the herbology is going to be cornflower, which is going to be like bright blues. But I saw her mythical creature one, and it's merfolk, and you may have heard me talking about my D&D campaign that I'm in right now. My character, her name is Sildove, and she is a water genasi, and her family is aquatic humans, and she has a lot of merfolk friends and stuff. So when I saw that, I had to buy the mythical creature kit this time. So I'm excited about that. And that kind of goes in with my future knitting plans, which is more summer tops. I'll probably make another tank out of that yarn. I think it'll be a really pretty summer top because it's supposed to have like different shades of blues. And yeah, just more knitting tops for summer. I want to get some more linen and cotton yarns. Probably get a shipment from Knitpicks. I know last time I saw that their magazine that they send me every couple months, they have like a magazine they send out to people that buy their yarn. They had previews for linen cotton yarns that they had just come out, like new ones. So I'm kind of excited to see what those are about. The only linen cotton yarn that I've used from them is Lindy Chain, and I made the Willa tee out of that. And I really like that summer top, but I'm probably not going to use Lindy Chain again. Not necessarily my favorite yarn. But I think that there are some that they have released recently that I think I'll really like. So looking forward to that. And then I definitely have some new sewing plans for the future. I really want to make some like lounge pants, like some comfy, not pants, shorts. I want to make some comfy like around the house shorts. Still looking around for patterns for that, and if not that, or also some linen shorts to actually wear out to work or out just around town. I really like linen. I have not sewn with linen before. I am curious how it will be. I don't want to do this big linen skirt and it be expensive and maybe me not necessarily like the type of linen I got. So I think doing shorts will be my best bet. Also, I thought about taking some of the scrap yarn from my project bag and doing like a little quilted pouch, like just like a rectangle with a button like place to put it, like a what am I trying to say here? Just like a little clutch with a button on it so that I can put knitting stuff in this knitting bag, because there's no pockets in here, but the bag that I usually use has lots of like pockets and stuff to put you know, like scissors or darning needles and stuff. And so yeah, I want to make like a little quilted like notions bag, I guess would be the proper name, but with a button and stuff, like a zipper, because I have so many buttons from that box that I showed you. What do you want? Do you want to lick it? It's just elderberry tea. No? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so those are my future plans. Like I said, no new yarn to show you. I guess technically my Aphrodite bralette project was kind of a new acquisition for you guys, because you guys didn't see that yarn yet. But yeah. Other than that, I could go on about some like recent life stuff, I guess. If you're not interested in listening, thank you for sticking around so far. I will catch you guys the next time. If you're staying, you get to hear about Shadow and Bone series. You get to hear about some games I've been playing, and shocker, I'm watching The Office again. So we'll start with the reading. Yeah, I bought the entire Shadow and Bone trilogy a while back, and I've been slowly reading it. I'm on the last book. I think it's great so far. The third book is starting out a little slow. I would definitely like a lot more. So this is kind of spoilers if you haven't read it yet. I want more Darkling content. He's kind of just like not around for this last book so far, and like at the end of the second book. So, but that's just a personal preference. I did start watching the Shadow and Bone show. Was super disappointed that they completely changed Kaz Brecker's story. Absolutely different. The Shadow and Bone like content is okay. It was pretty close to the books, so I got a text. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying the books, and I'm excited to read the last. I think it's a trilogy. It may be a duology. In the Grishaverse. That's going to be my next read. And then after that, I'm probably going to read some books that Katelyn from the Cozy Moth Knits, she's been doing monthly like reading reviews. And she's been doing a lot of like mythology. She's been reading a lot of like mythology tales. And I'm forgetting which type of mythology it is. So there's that. But it sounded really interesting, and I think I'd really like to dive into that. So I'll probably read those after I finish the Grishaverse. So that's reading. And then video games. I have been playing this game called Dorf Romantik. It's German developers. My friend, she's a streamer, Jelly Ellie Fishes. She was streaming it when it basically the day after it released, and I instantly fell in love. It's like a puzzle game. You have little hexagon tiles with certain types of like landscape attributes on it, like forest or grass or agriculture, houses, different things like that. It's randomly generated tiles, and you place them next to each other in very strategic ways to get more tiles, and you keep going until you run out of tiles. And it is so cute, and it's so much fun, and I've been really trying to beat my friend's score. I have yet to do so. But you can like unlock different aesthetics, and I love it a lot. So if you like puzzle games, definitely check it out. It's like it's like $15, I think. I bought it on sale though, so it might be a little bit more expensive than that. But I've also been playing Midnight Ghost Hunt with some of my friends. It's super fun if you like prop hunt type games. It recently came out too. I think it's been in early access for quite some time. It might actually still be in early access. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's basically just like prop hunt, if you know what that is, mixed with a first-person shooter where some of your friends are the hunters and they have to try to hunt the ghosts, and then the other half of your friends are ghosts, and you're trying to survive till midnight. And at that point, if you're still alive, you try to hunt the hunters. It's goofy and wonderful, and I've been having a blast with it with my friends. So yeah, those are my two games. Oh, and my husband and I have been playing Stardew again too, which has been really great. There's a lot of content that I didn't experience since the last time I really played it. So apparently I can have ostriches now, which is amazing. Yeah. So those are my video games. And then, like I said, I'm watching The Office again. I finished New Girl not too long ago, and I really just wanted a comfort show, and I'm really tired of paying for my Peacock subscription like every few months just to watch The Office. So I'm actually buying them, so after this I can watch them whenever I want without having to pay for anything. I figured I've watched it like 10 times, might as well buy it at this point, right? So there's that. I'm at 50 minutes. How did I talk so fast? All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. This was great to finally actually get to talk to you guys about what I've been working on, because like I said, it feels like it's been forever, although technically I am doing it once a month still. In episode number 10, I mean, we're in double digits now, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, so thanks for watching, Let me know what you've been working on, if you worked on anything while you were watching, or you know, just what you think about what you saw, and